Hello, I'm Brian Fox. Welcome to my channel, I Hate Rock Music. And this video I'm going to do on the band Forevermore. And this is definitely one of my all-time favorite 70s bands. Just a wonderful, wonderful band. Utterly sublime, exquisite. There's so much going on. They're so beautiful. They're so emotional. They're so top-notch playing. Incredible songwriting, incredible imagination. One of the things that strikes me about them is a lot of the songs are fairly short, but they are so imaginative that um, they really pack a lot into even the short songs. They can be 3 or 4 minutes long, and there's a lot going on. And so the band was Alan Gorey on vocals, bass, and piano, Ani McIntyre on guitar and vocals, Mike Travis on guitar and vocals, and Stuart Francis on drums. And several of the members used to be in a band called Hopscotch that put out 2 singles on United Artists about 68, 69. And they kind of hint at what's to come. But this band got signed to RCA Records. Both albums were recorded at Olympic Studios. They're actually a Scottish band. And so there's some great Scottish bands, Tear Gas, Sensational Alex Harvey Band. Um, so Scotland has a pretty nice tradition of some great rock bands, and Forevermore for me is the king. And they signed to RCA. They put out their first album, Yours, in 1970, and their second album, Words on Black Plastic, in 1971. And like I mentioned, they were recorded at Olympic Studios by Ray Singer. Simon Napier Bell did the production, so they're produced perfectly. They're just so wonderful. And they members are kind of known now. They actually participated in a film called Privilege, which is about rock groupies back about 70, 71. And I'll put some clips below because there's a clip of them playing live. And apparently they had something to do with the soundtrack for the film too. So I'm going to try and track the film down and see it and see how they integrated the music with the film. But the notoriety comes because Alan Gorey and Ani McIntyre, the guitar player and bass player for Forevermore, formed the Average White Band and had worldwide success. And they moved to the U.S. and everybody knows who the Average White Band is. And there's a couple things on the Forevermore albums that shows me that they were capable of doing something like the Average White Band. And then the other two members, Mike Travis on guitar and Stuart Francis on drums, ended up in a group called Glencoe. And Glencoe put out 2 albums in 1972 and 1973. And I'll probably be doing a separate video on them. So the band split in half. Half of them went to Average White Band, half went to Glencoe. And I'm going to get into the album a little bit, and I've got a lot of notes, so I'll try and be um, focused about it. Sometimes there's hints of family. Um, Gorey's vocals kind of remind me of Roger Chapman of Family a little bit sometimes, and sometimes they remind me a little of Traffic. Sometimes they remind me a little of Help Yourself. Sometimes they remind me of the band, but they definitely have their own personality entirely. I just hear hints of those bands. And there's 345s released from those records. Um, 2 of them in the U.S. In fact, the first one's called Back in the States Again, real rock anthem. And the second one was 8 O'Clock and All's Well. So those were both released in the USA as promo singles. And then they released a single called Put Your Money on a Pony, a third single that was released in Europe. And I'm kind of surprised that RCA put out both of these albums. The Yours album has a different cover in the UK than the US. But I bought both albums in cutouts like 1972, and I was really thrilled to get them for probably $1 a piece. The covers were interesting. I'm always happy when I went in cutouts and found a new band, and then not only found one album by them, but 2 albums. In this case, 2 albums So I really got to hear like everything they were capable of, and I got to hear what their development was like. And I was thrilled with Forevermore. I generally was looking for heavier rock bands, but this band was just so good. Um, just fell in love with it immediately. And both records I think are timeless. They sound even more wonderful today than they did 50 some odd years ago when I first got them. And just everything about them, as I started off this video, they are utterly sublime, absolutely exquisite. Um, the stuff that's gorgeous and beautiful and emotional, and then there's the stuff that just is fun. There's stuff that's rich and large tapestry. There's some stuff on it that actually rocks. Um, let's go through the songs a little bit. On the Yours album, they start out with Back in the States Again, which is very anthemic and uses a lot of horns. There's a lot of extra instruments on the record, and there's places where there's strings and horns, and so they from the clip that I've seen, it looks like they're a fine live rock band, but I get the impression reading interviews and people that saw them that uh, sometimes there was something lacking because there was so much going on the records. But I don't think that would really be a problem ultimately. But when you dive into the record, there's drums, bass, acoustic guitar, electric guitar. There's three singers. The harmonies are excellent. Um, there's trumpet, sax, recorder, brass, strings, tuba, percussion, Jew's harp, piano, mandolin, violin, and so it's a basic rock band: two guitars, drums, and bass, with three singers, with excellent harmonies and really wonderful arrangements, very imaginative, creative arrangements, but a lot of augmentation with different instruments. Gives them a lot of nice colors. So let's get back to the album Yours. It starts out with Back in the States Again, then a song called We Sing. Absolutely gorgeous ballad with strings, and then a nice ending with some great fiddle playing. Really cool changes. It's only 3 4 minutes long, but they go through a whole bunch of different changes. Then followed up by It's Home, and it's 30 style, so it's kind of a goof song in a way, but the harmonies are so gorgeous. It really fits into the album nicely, and it ends up not being a joke. Then they do Home Country Blues, very mid-tempo, nice piano, great country picking. Um, and then they go into an 8 minute song called Good to Me, which starts out acoustic, then adds electric piano, then has some incredible solo sax work and a fair amount of it, and then it has another acoustic solo, and then kind of an outro. You think it's going to end, and then the sax and bass have a duet, and then there's just incredible arrangement and a gorgeous outro, and then and some more solos at the end. So you think it's more than one song, but it ends up being this 8 minute suite. And then they get into the title song Yours, which is very jazzy and has strings and sax. And then Beautiful Afternoon, very jaunty acoustic ballad with trumpet, recorder, and tuba. 8 o'clock and All's Well has a jungle beat with percussion solo, and then it gets pretty rockin' and it has a great horn chart. Then there's Mean Pappy Blues, acoustic country blues with Jew's harp, and then they do You Too Can Have a Body Like Mine, which is great classic rock, really straightforward. And then they end up with Sylvester's Last Voyage, just a gorgeous acoustic ballad with strings and beautiful, beautiful harmonies. And so that doesn't really tell you how good the quality is on this band. Every song is perfect. Every arrangement is really interesting. There's some complexities to it, but also a sense of economy. They just really know how to put music together, kind of like the Beatles knew how to, where there was a bit of simplicity and economics combined with complexity. The melody, the harmonies are all great. The lead singing by all three singers is excellent, and then they're great players. Anytime there's any kind of guitar solo or any acoustic picking or anything like that, and it's just excellent. and the rhythm section is excellent too. And the rhythm section had to be strong to keep up with all the changes that they go through in a single album. There's all kinds of surprises and interesting choices, great creativity and imagination. The lyrics are excellent and moving. There's a lot of emotion to what they do, and just the sheer joy of making beautiful music. So now I'm going to get into the second album a little bit more because, like I say, they're just so wonderful. I think everybody should be checking them out. And a heads up to Patricia, and a heads up to Richard, and a heads up to Bo Daddy. Um, this band could be for you. As I mentioned, they're one of my very favorite undiscovered rock bands of the British Isles of the 70s. And collectors, for some reason, are not into them. You can still get copies on eBay for 10, 15, 20 bucks. Um, so I have no idea why collectors haven't zeroed in on this band. So let's go to the second album, Words on Black Plastic. Promises of Spring opens it up, and it's probably the most rockin' thing they have done, but it's really interesting, weird time signature. But the guitars are incredible. They could have easily been a killer hard rock band. It's a really nice soft break before they get back into the rocking part of it, and it has a nice brass section on it too. And it's probably one of the things on there that sounds the most looking forward to the average white band. Then it followed up by The Wrong Person, classic rock with a really cool country break to it, and the guitars are just killer on it. Then followed with Last Breakfast, acoustic rock, just gorgeous, beautiful song, beautiful melody, beautiful harmony vocals. Get Behind Me, Satan features some nice piano work. It sounds a lot like the band. So even though they're from Scotland, and a lot of it would qualify as classic UK Scottish rock, um, there's a certain love of American music because you find some jazzy elements, you find country elements, you find some folk elements, Americana, roots rock, boogie woogie, all kind of mixed in this brew that they do. Then Put Your Money on a Pony, classic rock. Middle jam is amazing. You can see Alan Gorey why he's so killer in Average White Band. His bass playing on the middle section of Put Your Money on a Pony is amazing. Um, and then there's a bass percussion solo that they do. Then there's a song called Looking Through the Water, again, acoustic ballad with a mandolin and violin. Just gorgeous, heartbreaking, um, beautiful singing, beautiful melody. Then they do O'Brien's Last Stand, a nice slide blues that doesn't really sound like anybody else. And then Angel of the Lord, which starts out as a ballad and then gets a little more rockin'. And then they finish up with What a Lovely Day, which is mostly strings and vocals, and utterly heartbreaking, beautiful, gorgeous, haunting. Um, what a great way to wrap up the album. So these two albums, um, I recommend almost more than I've recommended a lot of things, just because they still feel like my band, because people don't talk about them and collectors aren't after these records. And I think they're two of the best 70s rock albums out of the British Isles that I've ever heard, and everything going for them. Absolutely top-notch playing, absolutely top-notch arrangements, absolutely top-notch melodies, absolutely top-notch harmonies, absolutely top-notch lead vocal performances, absolutely top-notch rhythm section, absolutely top-notch creativity, imagination, and creativity and imagination and ambition. And so I hope I haven't sold them too hard, but I love these records so much. And I really, really hope somebody out there discovers these and feels the way I do about them. Thanks for watching. I Hate Rock Music. This is one of those moments where I love rock music more than anything in my life.